Welcome to the chase, where descents are thrill. Ben and John are here, making time stand still. Diving deep, where others just pretend. They're your guides on this journey, chasing descent. Chasing descent, where truth's the quest. Ben and John won't give it a rest. In a maze of facts, they find their way, bringing the dawn of a clearer day. They laugh, they probe, they take no sides. Through rabbit holes they take their strides. With Finn and Banter, they're heaven sent. Ben and John, chasing descent. So hit subscribe, don't be content. Join the chase, be omnipresent. With Ben and John, no time is misspent. On the trail with chasing descent. Chasing descent, where truth's the quest. Ben and John won't give it a rest. In a maze of facts, they find their way, bringing the dawn of a clearer day. Chasing descent, where truth's the quest. Ben and John won't give it a rest. In a maze of facts, they find a way, bringing the dawn of a clearer day. They laugh, they probe, they take no sides. Through rabbit holes, they take their strides. With wit and banter, they're heaven sent. Ben and John, chasing descent. So hit subscribe, don't be content.
Fucking hell.
Join the chase, be omnipresent. With Ben and John, no time is misspent. On the trail with chasing descent. Chasing descent, where truth's the quest. Ben and John won't give it a rest. In a maze of facts, they find their way, bringing the dawn of a clearer day. Chasing descent, where truth's the quest. Ben and John won't give it a rest. In a maze of facts, they find a way, bringing the dawn of a clearer day. They laugh, they probe, they take no sides. Through rabbit holes, they take their strides. With wit and banter, they're heaven sent. Ben and John, chasing descent.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this. I'm just going to have a little chat about the law of one, which is quite a strange thing that I found last night while I was meandering through the YouTubes. And it seems to be quite a popular thing. So I was going to give it a little bit of a discussion and a little bit of an explanation. It's one of those things that is quite spiritual and is alleged to be something that would maybe improve your level of consciousness and possibly lead you to a higher path when it comes to where you're going. And the problem is nobody knows. Nobody knows where the hell you're going. I tell you what I'll do though, I'll break down the law of one as I kind of understand it. And you know, this is I'll be honest, this is hi did I and Julie, this is a kind of a condensed version because I haven't spent a lot of time on it, but there's a couple of things that worry me about it and a couple of things that are quite interesting, you know. So the basis seems to be that there's a galactic consciousness, one galactic consciousness, and we are nothing if not just tiny parts of that have been selected to inhabit a human in this occasion, and you are undergoing a level of density. So apparently the Earth, if you're a human on Earth, you're a level 3 density. Now it goes up to 6. And I don't know if you're meant to get denser. That's not a good. It's that. Sorry, that's a poor joke. But anyway, people as you progress, you go up the levels, and apparently, um, all this has come about because people got this in a download. They got it in a channeling session. The channeling's when someone apparently goes into some kind of trance and an alternate being takes over their consciousness and then spouts forth with the words of that being and not the person who is, to all intents and purposes, unconscious and unable to remember what has occurred. That's the theory. So there was this group of physicists and or dodgy scientists hanging about in the 80s, I think. And they were trying to do the channeling thing and not doing very well, but they were all men. And then a woman joined the group, and at that point, channeling occurred. And she channeled Ra. Yeah, that Ra, the one from Egypt. So she channeled Ra, who turns out to be a level 6 density that has gone beyond the need for a corporeal body. So he's, or I say he, but I only use it as a pronoun. So he exists. Good evening, Natalie. He exists as he exists without corporeal form, in the form of energy, and therefore he's channeling his thoughts through this lady. Oh, good grief! I'm terrible with names these days. I really am turning into Joe Biden. But moving on. So he channels this to the group, and his story is that he's a level 6 being. They evolved something like 2.6 billion, 2.6 billion years ago on Venus, when it was a very Earth-like planet, and they evolved into level 6 beings, so they no longer need a planet or such, and are part of the galactic mind. And he's come back to give us some more information about what's happening in the world just now, which is always useful because, let's face it, there's a lot happening in the world just now, and we don't quite know what's going on. So, yeah. So Ra is apparently the one that was there in Egypt along with the 9 other gods or whatever, who turn out to be evolved humans from Venus. I think they're still everybody. Apparently, everybody in the galaxy is human or has a human form. So there are aliens out there, but they're humanoid aliens. But and they're all on different levels of density. I know. Bear with me. It gets better. It sounds like an L. Ron Hubbard movie. What did that turn into? Oh no, we don't want to go there. They're very litigious. They'll sue us. So hi Ben. So I need wine to get through this one, mate. I really do. So 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 we now have Ra channeling all this information through, and somebody's writing it down. And this guy Don Elks writes a book along with the young lady who was a channeler. He turned out he was a professor in California, and she was one of his students in the early 60s. So the whole thing starts to get a bit weird. And anyway, they write this book and they write down these prophecies they write these prophecies down in the late 80s, early 90s. And a lot of them look like they're coming true, because they kind of did foretell the World Trade Center thing. The problem is most of these things are written in such a way that they're open to interpretation. It's like Nostradamus' prophecies. You can interpret them any which way. So anyway, this is the basis, and people have taken this and run with it. And now they're kind of it's become quite popular, this the law of one. And now that they're trying to differentiate it into 2 different types now. So you have the left-hand path, which is basically the self-service route, i.e., you serve yourself. So you go through all the different phases of density, but you're only ever serving yourself. You're looking after number one. And then there's the other group, the service to all, service to mankind, service to humankind, service to the galactic consciousness. And they're the people that are more enlightened and progress further along the path of densities, even beyond six in these occasions. So the question is, what's what? Because one, they look at the self-service route and call that the negative path, and they look at the service to all route and call that the positive path. And it seems to be that if you go down the route of service to all, you are giving more than receiving. You're forgiving people, you're loving them, whatever. But how does that translate to the real world? How would you see someone who was in this state of enlightenment or going down this path? How would that translate to someone who's living in the real world? Because if you look at what happened over the last couple of years, and you think about people that didn't challenge anything, right? And you think, well, they're the service to all group, but they're probably not. Because what they're doing is they're just looking after themselves by thinking they're looking after the herd, but they're not. They're looking after themselves because they're frightened. And they were making decisions, I think, based on their own personal fear and anger and sadness. So they were making negative decisions. And therefore, I think they are in the service of self group. They're the selfish ones, if you could call them that. And I think the people that challenged what was going on and spoke out against it, many of them are in the service to all group, but some of them aren't. Some of them are in the self-service group. And you know who I'm thinking of? People like Dr. John Campbell, who started off very much on the mainstream, what would you say, narrative, and then kind of switched, especially when his YouTube channel took a massive hike in views, went from, 7,000-8,000 views or whatever per video to like 2 million. And then his view kind of changed and he gravitated towards serving people that had a more questioning outlook. But when he did that, his actual examination of the science and the data went awry. Because a lot of what he did say, in support of the group that were challenging, and are trying to support them, actually turned out to be questionable and not quite verifiable. So was he serving himself by really searching for likes and views? And therefore, bringing in a substantial amount of revenue, because when you go from 7,000 views a video to 2 million views a video, let's just say, on a low score, $5, $5 1,000 views, so times that by 2 million. Well, divide 2 million by 5 and then times it. Right, so let's have a look at so that's kind of what I'm understanding as the law of one, and there are people out there who've gone into this in great detail and looked through it, and I think the problem is that when you actually look at how it came about and the channeling and things like that, it does look a bit dubious. And then there's this doctor that was involved, this Dr. Prunry or something. This is the guy who kind of was the protege of Stranger Things, if you think about it, because he gathered a group of teens or children and started doing psychological experiments on them to bring out their psychic abilities, and took them to a lab in New York, upstate New York or something like that, which strangely enough burned down, and then he disappeared to Mexico. And then he hooked up with this guy, Don Elks, who was a professor, and the girl who was the channeler, and then they ended up producing all this stuff. So the whole thing starts to look a bit sus, doesn't it? It starts, and then they write a book, and the book gets published, and it starts to look as if people are just trying to make money off of this. But then someone says, well, what they are, one theory is that they're actually trying to promote an alternative religion as such to make us question, the current religions and fall into being directed by the state. Now, I think there's easier ways of doing it than trying to come up with some space-based giant brain. I may well be wrong, but and let's see what we've got in the comments. So, lots of people in the comments now. So good. Grifting for profit. Yep. I think it could well be grifting for profit. God damn, the thousands that have been pumped into our two channels. It will take years to see any return, let alone a profit. Indeed it will. So I think the problem with all these spiritualism and all these different channels and things like that is you're looking for something that you can't find outside yourself. And I might sound a bit airy-fairy here, but bear with me, because thinking about this, if you're going to find enlightenment, you're not going to find it on a mountaintop. You're not going to find it, sitting in a sauna being birched by some, big-breasted Swedish lady or whatever. You're not going to find enlightenment that way. You're not going to find enlightenment at the foot of kissing the feet of a monk. You're not going to find enlightenment by fasting yourself and starving yourself for weeks or days on end. I don't think that's how you find enlightenment. I think you find enlightenment by looking into yourself and becoming at one with your own thoughts and understanding who you really are. I think that's a more likely path to enlightenment. But I may well be wrong. I am absolutely... It's getting hot up here now, Ben. You must have transferred something. So that sounds like a great idea. There's the sauna in his hotel in September, going to use it. Yes, well, I'm giving me the address of the hotel and I'll arrange for a big-breasted Swedish woman. Oh, humid, Ray. Oh, hello, Ray. Good to see you. I saw you. I saw you on Twitter earlier, and I think I agreed with one of your points, which is great. And I like Ray because Ray challenges you to think, actually, because he doesn't agree with everything you say, and we obviously have quite different views on occasion, but it's always civil. I mean, I don't know what he says offline, but he's always civil online. It's the same with Ed. Ed and I have disagreed quite vehemently on occasion, but, if you agreed with everything that everyone said, it would be a pretty boring world. And how are you meant to progress? It's like, say you're a tennis player, right? And you only play people that are worse than you. How are you ever going to improve? You're never going to get beat. So you think you're the greatest tennis player in the world. You never get beat. You don't improve, and then you go into a tennis tournament and you get humped, because you're actually rubbish. It's just you've been playing with really rubbish people. So how can you ever hope to improve if you only pit your brains against people who are mental idiots? I think you've got to and agree with you all the time, and that's why Twitter to me has become a completely broken platform, and people talk about this all the time, their timeline. You don't have a timeline in Twitter unless you're spending, hours and hours and hours carefully curating the people that you follow and then only watching their tweets. And if you're doing that, you're sad, because then you're only getting people that are going to agree with you, and you're only going to get an echo room online. And I don't think that's a good thing to have. And all these, Twitter used to be the best of the worst when it came to social media, because you could always find an argument on it. Now it seems to go one way or the other, because at the moment, whenever I'm on Twitter, it's absolutely full of people that are they're promoting Farage as basically a Russian agent. I mean, that's all I'm seeing on Twitter just now. And it's like this. They're talking about things that we put to bed 2 or 3 years ago. And I thought everybody had come to the consensus that, yeah, America bad when it comes to putting its hands on other countries' business. And it's like, we're back at square one. It really is like Groundhog Day. And sometimes I think this might be something that is sent to try you by the galactic brain. Maybe this is a learning point that you've got to understand that people are inherently stupid. And or it might be that some of us are getting more advanced, and I'm not trying to be smug, because ego, if ego ego's not really it's not a particularly attractive quality, is it? When it gets too big. When you've got to widen doors for it, and knock down summer houses and rebuild them as bigger ones. Then ego doesn't become particularly attractive when you're getting to that stage. I don't think, but I may be wrong. so, so Ben's obviously missed that one. Hi Emma. Okay, that's a dig at him. He says he needs a bigger summer house. How's his ego? What's Natalie saying? Natalie's saying plenty here. Let's have a look at this. So people are quick to blame others for their unhappiness and their problems. Many are not willing to take accountability for exactly, Natalie. That is very, very true. People who don't take accountability for their own actions, lives, and they don't make changes that need to improve their own situation. You're 100% correct, my dear. You are 100% correct. And that's one of the biggest problems in the world today, and that people seem to feel entitled and seem to think that they're entitled to things without doing anything to help themselves. And, we're not without our problems. We all have our individual foibles and issues. I think if you come to recognise that you are not perfect, it might be a shock to some people, but when you come to recognise that you're not perfect, and maybe you need to look into yourself a little bit, is that another step on the path to enlightenment? Because if you think about it, your dog has nothing, right? I mean, you might have bought it a chew toy or something, but your dog basically lives the life of a dog. Its high spot of the day is probably going for a walk with you, where it's out in the fresh air and it's running about, but you're there as well. Because dogs are pack animals, they like to have company. And then you go home and feed it, and that's its second high spot of the day. And then its third high spot of the day is probably lying down and having a nap while you pet it or don't, as the case may be. But that animal's probably pretty damn happy most of the time. It's probably a bit anxious when you leave it alone for any length of time. Well, when dogs don't really have a great sense of time, or what appears they don't have a great sense of time. So I think they can suffer from separation anxiety quite easily, and get quite anxious. But as long as you've proven that you will come back, they generally settle down and calm down. So a dog doesn't really have anything, but it's a pretty happy existence. Now, it may be that a dog's not terribly self-aware, which is probably true, but it doesn't stop it being happy. And why should you being self-aware stop you being happy? Because why do you worry? Why do you sit here and worry about things that you can't change? Oh, if I'd done this, if I'd done that. Well, you didn't. Okay, so I mean, don't get me wrong. I used to do this as well. I used to think, oh, if I'd done that, this would have happened, and then, I would have had a better life. But there's no point. There is no point in crying over spilt milk. There's no point in going back over past mistakes unless it's to learn from them and not to repeat them. But once you've done that, once you've learned the lesson, There's no point in continually going back over it and going, what if? What if? Well, what if I'd bought a lottery ticket last night and it had come up and I'd won millions of pounds? What would I have done? What would really have changed in my life other than the fact that I would have money? Is money going to make me happy? It's going to give me things and it's going to allow me to go places, but is it really going to make me happy? What would really change? Would I still do this? And I actually like to think I still would do this. I might not do it here. I might do it in nicer surroundings. But ultimately, nothing's really going to change there. So that's not something to strive towards, is it? What you want to strive towards is being effectively happy. Do you want to be able to? Does it matter if you can buy a new car next year? Does it really? If the old one's going fine, who cares? So maybe we do predicate ourselves too much on status and materialism, and maybe we should take a step back and think about, don't try and search for things that are temporary. If you like, for instance, I mean, I bought a new motherboard recently for my computer because, to be honest, the computer was really slow. But that computer was built, That computer was built in 2017. I built it myself with parts. So to replace a motherboard and CPU, some 7 years later, I think is fairly good value and not terribly unfrugal. Oh, am I driving people off? Is Emma away as well? Oh, she's got to go and do physio. Oh, sorry, Emma. Oh, right. So I'm not trying to put people off or something. I'm just having a kind of, what would you call it? I'm just vomiting up my experience or thoughts for you, because you're there and you're listening to me. Thank you. I don't know why you're listening to me, but thank you. And if you are listening to me and you like what you're hearing, then you could like, share, and subscribe, because that costs you nothing and it helps us to grow the channel. So I was listening to a guy last night, Aaron Ackby, and he was talking about the law of one, and he's done quite a few videos on it, and he's going through it in a big thing, and he's telling you all about the densities and progressing and all that. And then he started talking about kundalinis and stuff like that. And then he started talking about if you withhold your sexual urges, right? And he always said this is more for males than females, obviously. But so if you are withholding your sexual urges and the richness from the product that you're not expelling, will eventually make its way into your cerebral spinal fluid and up into your brain, where it will trigger extra development and stuff like that. And then at some point you may feel excess cerebral spinal fluid dripping down the back of your throat, which could taste salty. And I'm thinking, whoa, I don't think there's any medical basis for what he's saying. I don't think cerebral spinal fluid drips down the back of your throat. Now, I might be wrong, right? But I can't see how how can there be, I don't think there's a hole, It's not like there's a hole through to your brain from the top of your throat, is there? I think your sinuses are sealed off. They call it the blood-brain barrier for a reason. Nothing's supposed to get in there. Yeah, Ray said he saw that guy was nuts. There are a few of them, mate. There are a few of them out there. And at first glance, these people seem really plausible, and you think, yeah, that sounds quite reasonable. And then you start thinking, and then when he came out with that, I went, nah, you've lost me now, mate. You've lost me now. And these other guys like Billy Carson and Terence, what's the other guy? Terence, oh God. The Terence guy, he's completely off his rocker. And Billy Carson's not far behind them. I think the thing is, they sound plausible. And they start off, they lull you in because they sound like they're talking a good game, and you think, well, maybe there might be something in this, and then you start digging into it and go, no, I don't think this is real. I think these people are either grifters or, well, I do. I'll say that they're not, or they are grifters. I think that's all they are. They're trying to they're trying to make a kind of, it's like an ancient aliens type thing. You're making something out of nothing, and I don't think it's fair because there's a lot of vulnerable people out there, isn't there? There's people that need to have something, and you can see that. You can see that by things like QAnon and the truther movement and all that, and all the people that grasp onto every conspiracy going because they need something, right? They can't have nothing, so they have to grasp onto all these things. And I find that it's quite horrible to take advantage of these people and use them really and leave them at the end of the day with no further forward generally. I mean, it's like religion. I mean, this is basically religion. This is what religion does, isn't it? And if you think about it, you shouldn't have to listen to anyone to tell you to believe in a religion because if you want to believe, if you think there's a religion, if there was a religion, if there is a God out there, surely he would have surely there should be some means of communication. And I don't mean like a voice in the head, but there should be something that would draw you towards that without you having to go to church, without you having to be browbeaten into it by priests or nuns or, imams or whatever. Why do these people have to instill into children, the belief in a deity? Why can't you just let people come to you? Because then your religion's not going to work, is it? Is it? I think you're better teaching people how to think for themselves, how to think critically, how to examine and weigh up pros and cons than you are trying to tell them that there is a deity up there that's looking out for them. But if you do something bad, he'll just cast you off and send you to hell. And that goes for all the stories are the same there, really. If you're not good, you don't go up. Yeah. Yeah, they're all kind of much the same. So it's not much of a forgiving person, is it? It doesn't seem like a very nice guy. And that's maybe why you have to browbeat children into believing these things when their minds are still forming and they still don't have any strong opinions. Because if they did have opinions, then they probably would choose not to do it. Yeah? Slim, yes, indeed, you're right. Pseudo intellectuals always sound good. Yeah, they do. They do. I mean, I'm sitting here pontificating. People might tune into this and go, "Well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a pseudo intellectual and he's talking shite." And I may well be, but I'm not purporting to tell you anything. I'm only explaining what I've seen and what I think. I've always allowed you to make it, and when I say allowed, I mean encouraged you. And Ben and I are the same. We've always encouraged you to make sure that you make up your own mind, do your own research. If you think something's wrong, then fine. If you think we're right, then fine. That's great because mostly we are. Apart from that, what's Natalie saying? Yeah, important to try and live in the present, be grateful for everything we do have in our lives, not focus on the past, future, and what we don't have. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you can look to the future to a degree, I suppose, but you won't get necessarily you won't get what you're thinking you might get out of it if you focus on it too much, because you may build it up into a situation where it's never going to fulfill the dream that you've managed to craft for yourself. Yeah, Ray, I find that as well. I'm always right as well, especially when I'm not. No, except when I'm not. Yeah. Right, I'm going on a diet tomorrow. I've had enough of this nonsense. I'm way too fat. Look at this. I've got an extra chin down here. More chins than the Chinese phone book. Anyway, right. Where are we now? We've been talking. Good grief, we've been talking for 35 minutes. Oh, I watched the Grand Prix today. What a snorefest. It didn't rain. It didn't rain. Lando Norris didn't win. He was second. George Russell was leading again. Oh, God. The plastic spaz was managed to get into the lead at one point. And Hamilton was third ultimately. So it tended out Lando Norris, Max Verstappen. No, Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, then Hamilton. So, it mixed it up a bit, but normal service resumed, the Verstappen still on top. Yeah, no worries, Ray. It was pretty boring, mate. And Lando couldn't even catch him towards the end. So yeah, if Lando hadn't had a bad start, it might have been better. And everybody else was terribly unexciting. Ferrari were not really in it. They were kind of just above the middle and behind the leaders, so they weren't really a threat to anyone. Um, so yeah, it was a bit boring. I believe Scotland's playing Hungary just now, so this was the crunch game. I think they've got to win this. Yeah, I think they've got to. If they win this, I think they go through. Apparently, they've been voted the 20, Euro 24's best fans. Well, which would be nice. If we get nothing, at least we get the best fans. Yeah, I've been to Barcelona, Ray. It's better now than it used to be. When they had that chicane, you couldn't overtake at all because you could never stay close behind the car going onto the straight. Uh, are they drawing in the game just now, Natalie? Is it like 1-1 or something, or 0-0? I think if they beat Hungary, they'll be all right. They've got to beat Hungary, and Germany has to beat Switzerland. I think that's something like that. Yeah, yeah, the food can be nice in Barcelona. Indeed, the tapas can be good. You got to watch out for pickpockets, though. You could say that of most big cities, though, couldn't you? So, anyone, how's life been today for you all? Hope you all had a good day. I've had a fairly relaxing day because I kind of pulled a muscle on my leg. Oh, it's 0-0 at the moment. Hopefully the stick went by and managed to limp through, but no, in Scotland we won't. Uh, I'm not sure there's anything more I want to say about the Law of One. I think really it's kind of a fad. There seems to be a lot of these trends just now, doesn't there? That people are jumping on the. I think there is a bit of desperation in people because I think they need some kind of light at the end of the tunnel. And the problem is, when you look at what's actually going on in the world, the light at the end of the tunnel isn't very bright. So yeah, I think I'm not trying to I'm not trying to bring you down. I'm just saying, be careful when you look at all this stuff. And it's like all these things like Bigfoot and Skinwalker Ranch and all that. They all seem very good when you initially look at them, but once you start digging down into the detail and you start finding out things that maybe don't quite gel and people are changing stuff and making stuff up. Not a lot. You haven't missed much, mate. I've just been talking nonsense about living life and not trying to to wish for too much. Espresso mechanic, dig into the detail, you'll find the devil. Indeed, you may. You may indeed. El Chupacabra. There's just so many. I mean, the Jersey Devil, that's a good one, isn't it? the Jersey Devil, the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. You always think in I always think in New Jersey is just like, casinos and things because it's right beside New York, but New Jersey's called the Garden State for a reason because it's full of that thing called the Pine Barrens is massive, absolutely massive. The Thunderhawk, yeah. I saw that. I don't know if you've ever watched Mud Fossil University. I watch it quite often because that guy. I like Roger's enthusiasm. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm convinced by his mud fossil theory though, especially when it comes to gravity, because you can't have things that size. He's talking about people that were like 100 feet tall, and you can't have that. You just can't have it because you can't pump the blood up to their head. It just can't be done. Mothman Prophecies was quite good. Yeah. I used to love all the old Hammer horror movies as well because I love the way they start slow and build, like The Thing started slow and builds to a crescendo. Nowadays horror movies are just like the slasher gore, and they're really not terribly well thought out. They don't have a high degree of suspense, which is quite disappointing. But is that an indication of the society that we're living in? The instant gratification, show me now. And sometimes I find myself, getting to a point where I'm watching something on YouTube and I'm going, no, that's nonsense, and skip to something else, and then I go, no, that's nonsense, and that skips on, and I'm only giving it like 1 or 2 minutes, and I'm thinking, good grief, if people do that to us, no wonder we don't give views. Because why would you dip into this and stay? People are like, what's this guy waffling about? Get to the point, man. Get to the point. And the thing is, I don't have a point. That's the problem. This is one of these rambles, that you have on a Sunday night. Usually when you're got your feet up at the fire with a brandy and a stout pipe. No, I don't smoke a pipe. Lizard people, yeah. Well, the lizard people, they live inside the hollow earth, don't they? Yeah, I think that's the only route for them. I think lizard people inside the hollow earth, along with the Nazis with the secret Nazi base. Oh. Right. What else? Anything else we want to talk about? I think we've pretty much done everything. I mean, some parts of that law of one thing, some parts of it, I like the concept of a galactic consciousness, but I wouldn't say galactic. It would probably be universal. And of course, it does go on to explain things like, or not explain. It goes on about how everything is connected and everything touches everything else, and that kind of is true to a degree because. The cells that your body are made of were forged in some star somewhere in space at some point, and not necessarily the star that you can see in the sky. So those atoms came from somewhere, which is all quite interesting, really. So you are a child of the stars indeed. Remember that. You are a child of the stars. Take that thought with you as you go about your business. It's been great for you.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say, yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way.
I can't contain it, I'm coming out with a statement. You really changed, man, all your music and arrangement. You don't know shit, shut your mouth, you can save it. I'm the same dude that got his come up from the basement. 100 songs, 100 weeks, didn't change it. Experiments, development, intelligence, and patience. I'll do it all again, cause I never feel complacent. Let's keep the good vibes, positivity's contagious. I'm never looking back, cause I made a life that's passionate. A college graduate suppressing all his talents, yeah. He found a way to go and change, become an advocate. For taking control of your life, go out and battle. And you think you have a dream, then act on it. Get after it, get out your head and fucking capture it. You got one life to master it. Don't give up on your future, we all start losers. We're all late bloomers, gotta struggle through the sewer.
What you say, yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say, yeah, I'ma do shit my way.